Stable Diffusion 3.5 just released. I actually sat this morning to shoot a video about how to install SD 3.5, but something caught my eye that needs to be addressed immediately. Although the licensing terms of SD 3.5 look pretty harmless on the surface, it is actually very concerning once you go through the fine prints. The details of the licensing can be found by clicking on this button in their SD 3.5 announcement page. I shall also leave the link in the description. Let us go through the terms now. This agreement is intended to allow research, non-commercial and limited commercial uses of the models free of charge. In order to ensure that certain limited commercial uses of the models continue to be allowed, this agreement preserves free access to the models for people or organizations generating annual revenue of less than $1 million or local currency equivalent. So far so good. We are going to skip the research and non-commercial use license part because that's not the focus of today's video. Now read carefully here. Subject to the terms of this agreement, Stability AI grants you a non-exclusive, worldwide, non-transferable, non-sublicensable, revocable, and royalty-free limited license to use, reproduce, distribute, and create derivative works of and make modifications to the Stability AI materials for any commercial purpose. Did you notice the red flag here? Now we should not jump to conclusions already. Even if the models are open sourced, the company can keep the rights to revoke in case you do something that might affect their business in adverse way or drag them into legal litigations. But there should be proper guidelines about when and why they can revoke your license. Now looks like there are some guidelines after all. If at any time you or your affiliates, either individually or in aggregate, generate more than $1 million in annual revenue, regardless of whether that revenue is generated directly or indirectly from the Stability AI materials or derivative works, any license granted to you under this agreement shall terminate as of such date. You must request a license from Stability AI, which Stability AI may grant you in its sole discretion. Now that's where the problem begins. It's good as long as you are making money, but not too much. Don't get me wrong, I am not against Stability AI making money. For the hard work they have been doing, they should be getting money, creating such outstanding products. Yes, outstanding products. Some of their recent products might seem to be lacking compared to the competitors, but if you go back 2 to 3 years and compare where the world was by then and where it is now, it looked just like a fairy tale just 3 years back. Stability AI has been on the forefront of this AI revolution from the very beginning. They keep creating better and better products, and all that requires money, huge chunks of it. So I definitely want them to make money, but as a consumer, if I am creating a business, my livelihood based around their product, I should make sure that suddenly I do not go out of business just because I am making too much money and someone on the Stability AI management decides I am not deserving enough or not politically neutral enough, or for any freaking reason they decide they are not going to grant me the enterprise license. Then again, things work differently at enterprise level. If you are an individual or a company that makes that kind of money, I doubt Stability AI would want to lose that kind of business instead of capitalizing on that. But even with that kind of expectations, it is not reassuring at all with such fine prints where they can revoke your access legally at any given time. I want to mention that I am not a person with much legal knowledge, so take my concerns with a grain of salt. If there is any legal advisor who's watching this video, kindly let me know in the comments. Correct me if I am wrong or I am not seeing something. But most users are just like me, and that makes us vulnerable to such fake terms. If you are just starting out or running a small business, it is actually pretty easy to switch over to other products. But once you become large enough, it is actually very hard. I used to use Adobe Premiere Pro for my video editing purposes when I was freelancing. Then I cancelled my subscription once I joined my current job. After that, when I started this YouTube channel, I looked for other options and started using DaVinci Resolve because it is technically free for my use cases. But if my friend who has now set up his own business in video editing space wants to suddenly stop using Premiere Pro and move to other softwares, it becomes much harder. When you are working with lots of people in a single project, you can't just change up everything just because you want to. It involves lots of time, monetary expenses, and even the risk of losing clients if you cannot make the transition smooth enough. I would urge all of you that are planning to use SD 3.5 or future Stable Diffusion versions to try and set up a business around that. or going to use it for major things in your business, please take proper legal advice from qualified people before you take any major step. Also, I would request Stability AI to release stronger, more detailed licensing terms that isn't vague and does not leave anything up for interpretation, because we love your products and definitely want to support you both monetarily and in other ways. If you want people to trust you with their career, their businesses, then you must first be clear and trustworthy.